Hey, what's up? How's it going today? So today on Top Step X Futures YM1, my trade ended up playing out. And I kind of want to show you guys my thought process prior to the New York Open. I took my laptop to work today, my family's business, and at 6, I'm in Arizona, Arizona time right now. At about 6:18, I clocked out, and then I went to my car and I just got set up. So prior to the 9:30 move, which is 3 hours ahead of my time, um, it was about 6:25 by the time I had done my markup, and I kind of knew what I wanted to do. All of a sudden, price started falling, and I was like, well, I was looking to go short, but it needed to run at least the Asian session high or the London high, and it never did. It just started dropping, and I said, well, I'll trade it to the others, the liquidity from the other side back up, and then hopefully it grabs that liquidity, and if it wants to come back down, it does what it does. It could be a ranging day for all I know, but it ended up being bullish. So let me go ahead and show you guys exactly what happened today. So we see here that there was this pullback, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, being bearish, but it's still overall bullish. So with this retracement and this move coming down and then coming up and breaking these highs right here from London, this equal highs came down for Memorial Day, came back, came up, and then it came down, grabbed this liquidity right there. Let me zoom in a little bit for you guys. So Memorial Day, Asian session low, took out the previous day low, and then it had this move right here, so someone could have caught that. Who knew how high it was going to go? Probably just target the previous day high, but this move happened, and I'm actually going to go to the 15-minute chart, and you can see my entry was right here at 42,002 right here. I could have got in with the limit order at 42,000, so it would have just been like right there, two points down. Or I got in at the previous day low. This low right here, I have a marked cross horizontal line, and then I have this Asian session low, which I have marked up, which I could have gotten in, an extra 12 point better entry for this move right here. So this move from right here to right there, that's 280 to 302, that's 22 points. That would have been a little bit better to have targeted this Asian session high from getting in at the Asian session low. But I caught a TP3 move, guys. Let me show you guys on the 1 hour though what happened. So right here I see a gap, which is this the whole range right here essentially. Let me go to the 4 hour, see if it's a little cleaner. Yeah, right there, 4 hour. Right there, it traded right into that 4 hour gap, guys, perfectly. You guys can see this. There's a 4 hour gap. Go down to the 1 hour, and you can see that it traded right into this gap. So I could have waited to this Asian session low. It would have been very safe trade. I had used 100 points stop loss, and I targeted the highs, 300 points. I said, well, if it's going to go to the Asian session high, it might break out. I did a Fibonacci retracement earlier to see where could it target, and it targeted the 70% fib right here. And I think it's might have a little pullback to just keep going higher. It might target the 605. Usually it does, but I think it's going to play out bullish for the rest of the, until further notice. We'll see what happens. I say that, but usually it's just I'm seeing what London does, seeing where the liquidity is from the previous day high, Asia session and London session, and then I trade from there. But I'm going to delete this. And I'm going to screenshot this. on a 4-hour time frame. No, let's go like this, and then I'm gonna mark this as a 4-hour fair value gap. How can I edit this? Edit. Is that edit? Settings, yeah. Text. I'm gonna call it the 4-hour fair value gap. Okay, that'll make it easy. So I know this is a powerful area where there's price needs to travel to, and then possibly with a high probability have a reaction off of. And it did. You guys can see this. It moved almost 450 points today, 474 points, you know, more. If you got in at 950, you know, that's a 500 point move right there. I caught 300, so majority of the trade I caught. So with that right there, I'm just going to screenshot this. I uploaded the trade. I have to be honest with you guys. I failed the last challenge. I had a win of $1,000 on Monday. I had a loss on Tuesday. I was break even on Wednesday, but then I moved my break even trade once it got to TP1 back to -1. So I lost $500 on that one. So that's 2 losses. Thursday I took a loss, and then Friday was news days, and I took a pre-market trade, which was dumb because once 9:30 hit, a trade entry was presenting itself. It was London had the drop, but it had a retracement back up. So there was a little move up. So there could have been a little retracement back down to then go back higher, and that's exactly what it did. So I was very sad that I didn't have the patience or discipline to just wait for the 9:30 move, New York time. So my best trades are when I take at 9:30 or within about 2 minutes of 9:30 to 10 o'clock, 10:30 latest. So yeah, I deserve to lose that. So I had $1,000, 500. If I would have just kept my break even on Wednesday, 500 still. Loss on Thursday, back to break even, and then I would have had a TP2 on Friday. So I would have been up $1,000 by the end of that week. So that makes me really upset. Like, just because I wanted to perform good after that first trade, I got a big head, I guess. But here this trade is. You guys see this right here. Here's my Top Step trade right here. Yeah, so let me go ahead and just journal this for you guys. View notes for the 27th. Great trade. A+ setup with the liquidity at the I think it was the previous day low, Asian session low, plus 930, and it wasn't at 930, it was essentially at when my trade actually got hit. It was at 935. For the long to the previous day high, Asian session high, plus breakout. TP3, wrist. Ooh, one of the main ones is right here, powerful. Don't forget the 4-hour fair value gap. Risk 100 points for 300 points. Okay, cool. We'll get that picture, paste, and save. So I don't want to hold you guys up very much longer. You guys can see here, it was a beautiful trade. 4-hour fair value gap. If you want to trade off the 1 hour, though 4-hour was a lot clearer seeing this 4-hour fair value gap. You could have went to the 1 hour and been like, well, where's the gap? Well, because I used the square box tool, I marked it up. When I go to the other time frame, it still stays there. It's just in a 1 hour. So there it is. And what do you know? There it is. Would have been a little bit better if I would have got a better entry. Even the 42,000, just 2 points. You know, it all matters. But at the end of the day, I knew that this liquidity down here needed to be ran for the move higher. And I was actually waiting for this liquidity to get ran if it was going to keep going higher real quick for it to come down. And I was going to just take a TP2 for the move higher. But yeah, guys. Well, honestly, A+ day for me. I had the discipline. I had the patience. I executed when it was time to execute. I knew exactly where I wanted to enter. I knew exactly where I wanted to exit. And just everything was textbook. If you think the markets are random, they kind of are. But once the herd or price moves to an area where there's a high probability where there's going to be a reaction, and you know this because, and I know this because I've done a lot of back testing. But if you've back tested enough and actually traded live during the market open, you know there's a reaction at a certain point in the day where then it has the move. And I've seen this enough times to where, yes, it was kind of scary. It was falling. Price was falling. Hit the buy button. That's what I did at the 4-hour fair value gap, London low, previous day low, or the Asian session low, previous day low. And there was some drawdown. I went, I had 100 points. I went into 50 points of drawdown, $250. I was down. And then all of a sudden, it's a cent up. And as soon as I got to 50 points in profit, I moved my stop loss to 50 points less. So I was only risking $250 as soon as I got to 50 points. As soon as I got to TP1, I was break even. As soon as I got to TP 1.5, I moved it up about 25 points. So I had $125 I was going to make. As soon as I got a little bit higher than that, I was up. I moved my trailing stop loss now, my stop loss as a trailing stop loss, to $500. And essentially, I kept it there until it had this move right here, and it started, as soon as it broke this on a smaller time frame, like as soon as it got out of this range for right here, I went right here, I went up to $1,000. I went up to $1,000 as soon as it broke this area right here, because then I knew, well, this is TP2 essentially at 42,200 right there, right in this price right here. This line right here would have been TP2. So as soon as I knew it could have came down a little bit and then gone up. So, but as soon as it had this breakout right here, I was like, all right, I need to move this to TP2, my trailing stop, because it has a high chance of it going to TP3. So please like, comment, subscribe, guys. I've now been recording for close to 15 minutes. If you have any comments, if you want to follow me on Instagram, my handle on Instagram is martin.daytrades. Go ahead, send me a DM, write a comment, share my my link to my YouTube page, because this is where I'm giving value, and I'm just trying to create content and start getting comfortable with talking to the camera. I'm looking at the screen, but I should be looking at the camera. See, this is something I'm learning. But once again, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.